What is up, guys? Your homeboy Daniel from Tiny Studio Production. Today we got Eric Ramirez in the house, and as our co-host, we got Mr. Quest Black.
What's good?
So, Eric, tell us a little bit about you, brother.
So, as he said, my name's Eric. I don't go by any kind of stage name. I'm a local musician. I haven't really done a show in a while, but I'll do shows from time to time. Mostly my focus, though, is on music education. I'm a local private music instructor in the Mission area. I work for a school called Crescendo Music Institute. I've been teaching there about 5 years. I'm a guitar instructor, voice instructor, piano instructor, an instructor for a lot of things. And I think I said I've been doing that about 5 years. But I'll play shows from time to time, sometimes on my own, sometimes with friends. Someone you might know that I play shows with is Amari, obviously. And like, other than that, I'm also really into fitness. I'm very into my focus mostly being on like long distance running. So I'm super into that kind of lifestyle. And I'm also into video games. I think that basically sums me up quite well.
So going back to instruments, how many instruments can you play?
The answer is all of them. Now the real question is, which ones can I play well? And that one is 5.
Five.
I can
Okay.
play.
What are those 5?
So like I've been playing guitar since I was 10, so it's been 16 years a guitarist I've been. I started really working on my voice when I got to 9th grade and I joined choir. So I've been singing maybe about so like do the math, 12 years ish seriously been singing. But I also picked up drums as well too, and that was just something that like was always around like when I was a kid. So like I did that when I was 10 as well too, but I didn't take it more seriously till much later. And I just kind of did it mostly as like a survivalist, but I love to jam and back people up like on drums and stuff like that, and that's one of the instruments I teach as well. With guitar, I've also picked up bass as well too. Piano I had to pick up while I was at university as well too. That's required for a bunch of us music majors to do, so I had to do that then. So I've been playing piano like 6 years, 7 years or something like that. And I do a lot of electronic stuff as well too. So like I like to make beats from scratch, or I also like to mess with like synth instruments, analog stuff. I have dabbled in acoustic electric recording as well too, so like distorting audio to make it sound like other stuff. But yeah, like I'd say that sums up the catalog of like what I can do proficiently.
What got you into the music?
So music's always been around like in my family. I grew up in a family that had musicians. On my dad's side of the family, we have quite a few, you know. Not to say that there isn't any on my mom's side, but in my dad's side of the family, like, you know, I have like primos and tios like in Mexico, like they've got a group that they play shows and everything. And on top of that, like one of my uncles who passed away when I was like way young, he was a band director as well too for San Benito High School, and he had a piano as well too. I was too young to remember him playing, but he would play as well too, would let us mess with it as well. My grandparents, they also had like a really old like unkempt piano as well too in their home, and like I would just get on it and make noise as a kid. But probably the biggest influence being that my dad for a long time was in a band up until maybe I was like, I'm gonna say like I was 6 or 7, and he had something with like some of his friends and one of my uncles as well too. Sorry, 2 of my uncles, and they had a group, and they would rehearse like, you know, like in the house, and it was one of those things that, like, we were always told, like, no kids allowed in here, no kids allowed. And you know how kids are. You tell them not to do something, they're
Because they're gonna call for it.
so he's like, I remember very, very vividly, they'd be like, no, they're like, you guys aren't allowed in the room, you can't be in the room when we practice. And like, I would literally sit there against the door with my ear on the door, because like, I'd be like, well, I'm not in the room. And like, literally some of the earliest memories I have is like my dad's band practicing The Trooper by Iron Maiden. So
Heck yeah.
Nice, bro.
like, that's a lot of like where it started. But as far as like other influences, like, I'm really inspired by a lot of like what I hear in general. I'm inspired by media, like, movies, TV shows, video games, anime, like what have it, like all the music and that stuff's like, that's really awesome to hear. Pop music of now, pop music of then. I'm inspired by all genres, kind of like unbiased in a way. I do lean a lot to like what I grew up listening, but at the same time, I'm always like loving and discovering like new things. And I think it's just like, in general, like I just have like a lot of love for music as an art. Like I just can't get enough of it. So like, I'm always looking and looking and looking and looking for new stuff. Even like my kids, like that are at the school that I teach, I'm always asking them like, give me some new stuff, give me some new things.
Awesome. So you come from a family of musicians, right?
Yeah, like we have a couple of us scattered.
That's awesome, man. And what would you say would be your favorite genre to make of music that you could make? Like, what's your favorite genre?
So my favorite genre to make, that's always kind of a loaded question, because like, in general, like, throw me an instrument and put me with other people making sounds, and I'm just gonna do what comes out,
Yeah.
As a guitar player, like a lot of people would think like, oh, so like you must like doing like rock stuff or something like that. And it's like, yeah, I will if that fits the vibe, but in general, I just like to vibe with my environment. Like literally before this, I walked in and Danny was working with, what was his name?
DJ Oki.
And they were working on an EDM track, and I was just listening to like what they were throwing together. I liked the chords, so I grabbed a guitar off the shelf and I just started noodling around on it. Danny hands me a cable, he's like, record, and I'm like, okay. And like, yeah, like stuff like that. Like, it's, I don't think I really have a favorite genre that I like to write. Once I hear something like kind of in my head, or once I hear something that I'm like, I like this idea, I just go. Like, it doesn't matter to me what the genre is.
As far as instruments, what's your favorite instrument?
Favorite instrument I like to play?
Yes.
Probably it's a tie between piano and guitar, because with modern technology, there is no limit to what either can do. In ways they can very equally replace each other. They're very neck and neck. The only reason I would ever pick guitar is just because I can take it with me.
Yeah. Have you seen the keytar?
I have, and I want one.
Yeah.
Just because I think it would be fun to have on the wall.
Yeah. So
how is your daily life with fitness, from meals and workouts?
So it just depends. Depending on how knee deep I am into what I'm training for, that's gonna kind of shape how much structure there is. So in other words, the meal plan and training fits the goals, so I'll give you an example. When I was in November, I had finished the Shiner half marathon. I had done that one in November, and the plan was, after that, I'm not going to sign up for any more runs until maybe about March or April. I'm going to start thinking about it. And so from that point on, all I was thinking of was just building strength and focusing on conditioning my body, getting it stronger.
Yeah.
So since my only goal was just to try and get a little stronger, I was letting myself eat a little more, encouraging myself to eat more. I ate a little bit loose because all I cared about was getting the calories in, you know. I didn't have to go do 2-hour runs anymore because it was mostly just sessions in the gym. And so there was more time to rest and recover, more time to train with the weights and stuff, and less time of the running and whatnot. So it was just focused on that. But now I have two things that I focus on, which is that it's like currently I'm in the process of trying to train for my first marathon by January.
Nice.
And along with that, like Danny had also asked me to do a photo shoot, and he had asked if I could do it without a shirt on. And so it's like, because of that, I was like, well, this will be my first time to try and really tone my body to be the best shape it can be in for something like that. So now I'm also prepping for that. And like, I'm really trying to get my body as toned as I can in a month's time. So I'm giving myself that goal to be like, if I'm gonna have my shirt off in a video, let's make my body the best it's ever been.
Yeah, it's the video that you'll be recording, Quest, with Sancho. I don't want to give too much detail, but we're all going to be kind of shirtless.
Yeah. Me probably more than
Yeah.
others.
Oh, yeah.
Back to fitness, bro. So, like, what do you enjoy more, lifting weights, or are you more into the cardio?
So, I love both equally because they are both very, very different things. And the mentality that goes behind either is extremely challenging, because if you are going for strength, you know, if you're in the gym and you're lifting weights, your big hurdle is gonna be just trying to pick up this heavy thing in front of you, either one more time than you did last time, or with a little more weight than you did last time, you know? And that's kind of crazy, you know, because like with that, like you're risking something going wrong, you know? And hopefully you're not just ego lifting and just throwing a bunch of weight hoping for the best, but like, you know, sometimes it's one of those things that, you know, people can underestimate how much heavier 5 pounds is. Like, you know, it's like I'll lift 160 and like I'll get off the ground no problem. Put 5 pounds on that, now suddenly I'm not too sure, you know? Now it feels like a totally different world, you know? And that process of like week to week, seeing those numbers slowly creep up and get bigger and bigger and bigger. The most recent PR that I'm proud of, I did a 325 pound deadlift for 1 rep. And that was probably one of the most intense things I had done in a while, but it probably felt no more intense than the first time I ever lifted maybe 185 off the ground, you know?
Nice.
And so every time you PR that way, it's all a bunch of getting yourself mentally ready for what's going to be maybe 3 seconds of your life. But when you run, we're talking about like long distance running, you are mentally prepping yourself to be alone and enduring pain for hours. You know, for me that I'm training distance, the longest run I've done is a 14.5 mile run. And that takes well over 2 hours, you know, and we're talking about doing this, not just this long run that most people wouldn't do in general, but doing it in valley heat, doing it with either carrying the water with you, or you're having to find a place to put it and get it in there, hydrate, get your nutrition in. You know, when you're doing long distance running, the only thing that's having you keep on going is just that voice in your head, because there's no reason you don't have to keep going. You could just stop if you wanted to. If it's exhausting and tiring, you can stop. It never stops being tiring and exhausting, but you're just pushing yourself for your goal within reason. You know, obviously you don't want to injure yourself and work through injury, but it's you fighting it against you. And even if you can find a friend to go run that kind of distance with you, you both are responsible for your own mentalities. So it's a different kind of world. Like, on one hand, lifting is hard because you got to prep a lot for these 3 seconds that are gonna really suck. On the other hand, you're mentally prepping to endure hours. And like, the only thing that's gonna really get you to do either is just kind of being like, fuck it, let's do it.
I've always found the fitness fascinating. It's kind of like a choice of like like when you hear music, you have your preference of like your genres. When it comes to fitness, it's kind of like you said, like a different goals. So you can never underestimate somebody with the strength, because when I've seen people that go lift weights that are like their main goal is bodybuilding, where you got this other guy that's a fighter that's focusing more on the strength training, and the fighter looks smaller but is stronger than the guy that's buff, and then you got the other person that is focused more on like stamina, you know what I mean? So it's just fascinating, like
Oh yeah. And like if I can just kind of like shout them out, I go to Gentry in Harlingen, and it's a local gym that their big focus is literally on catering towards those kinds of people that like are really not just living to have like a moderately healthy life and whatnot, but for those, I mean, obviously the door is welcome to anybody, but they are very welcoming towards those that do powerlifting, those that do strongmen, those that do bodybuilding. We actually have people in there that they compete in that stuff. One of my buddies, his name's Ricky, he's currently working towards getting his pro card in bodybuilding. He's sponsored, he trains hard, guy's totally awesome. And then we also have Coach Salas. He's one of the trainers there as well too. Massive, strong dude. I remember, like, shoot, that deadlift PR that I hit is probably his warm-up. Like, the things that guy has done, like, insane. Like, he's insanely strong. We have people that go and they also train, like you said, like for fighting. Like I've seen 2 people like spar like on the yard area as well too. It's like that gym like totally got me a new fired up when it came to my fitness, because I saw all these people that train for different things, and you just see everyone working hard, and it pushes you to want to be like the best that you're doing in what you're doing. And everyone has that mutual respect for everyone's craft. Like, I look at these people that outlift me 2-3 times over, and then they hear about how much I run, and I'll never forget what Coach said, which was like, because I told him like I had just done like a 11-mile run, and he just said like, if I was in a life or death situation and I had to do that, I hope I just die. So like we all have that like respect for each other.
That's I mean, fitness is an art. But going back to the music, what's your favorite DAW?
Okay, so like that's not fair. Because like I worked with Reaper because of uni. I worked with Reaper as it was one of the cheaper options, and it was what my professor had recommended to me. And I like Reaper because that's what I got trained to work with. Now, I also acknowledge that it's probably not one of the friendliest DAWs to work in, and I know that it's probably not one of the most popular, because most of the time when I say that's what I work with, I either get 2 reactions, which are people telling me I've never heard of that one, or they go, oh. And so I know it's probably not one of the best DAWs, and I don't even know if it's the most efficient, but that's the one that I use. But other DAWs that I find fun, BandLab's just fun in general, just for like online stuff. I like working with BandLab just because it's nice for like maybe not serious projects, but just getting ideas, like working maybe while you're on the go. It's also the same reason I like GarageBand on like iPads and stuff, just because maybe you just want to jot down little ideas, or I don't know, 2 to 4 hour like car ride. Let's just make a beat or something, Fruity Loops is cool. I like Ableton as well too. I like all sorts of different DAWs out there, but like my only experience really is with Reaper.
Awesome, man. So going back to education, so how was your college life?
I feel that a lot of people underestimate the difficulty a music degree is. Like going to school for music, a lot of people think it's, like, oh, you just show up and you're just singing all day. I should have specified my degree is in singing. It's vocal performance. Um, and a lot of people would assume like, oh, okay, cool. You go and you sing for a couple of hours every week. Oh, that's neat. And it's like, no, like it's quite demanding actually. In my first 5 semesters, I was doing full-time 18 hours for classes. And they had told us, like, you know, on plan, if you want to graduate in 4 years, you have to be doing 18 hours a semester, every semester. And then you got to take summer 1, summer 2 every year as well, too. And then there's these 2 classes you're just going to have to figure out how to find somewhere else.
I see.
If you want to graduate in 4 years. And that's because that doesn't even include that part of what we have to do is we have to attend concerts. We have to attend recitals. We got to attend that to earn lab credit. We also have to perform for the student body for lab credit as well too. We had to accumulate all those hours. We're also for not mentioning, like, you know, sometimes for the ensembles, like choirs, symphony, orchestra, all of that stuff, we have rehearsals that sometimes aren't even plotted in the class times. You know, we did these things called choir camps where like we would have like a whole like weekend that we had to show up like all day just to have choir rehearsal. And that's not part of like the actual weekly plan. Like, no, that's just in the syllabus thrown in. Music majors are just like medical majors in that the hours that we have to put in, there are hours we understand we have to log that aren't even written in. But, you know, 18 hours is actually something that's more like a full-time job. Yeah. And it's exhausting. And it taxes a lot of us, like, mentally, physically. It was a lot on a lot of us mentally and physically. It's why I had to leave for a few years, because I had to regain the right headspace for that, you know? Yeah. It's very tough. It's very tough getting a music degree. Like, it's one of those that in the first semester, when I started, I was in a freshman starting class of about 60 in my first class. Like, we had 60, 70 kids, so many that the auditorium was packed. By the time I finished that first semester, that number of 60, 70 dwindled down to 30. Oh. Just in that one semester, you know?
Yeah.
And like, you can imagine how the numbers get smaller as it gets closer to graduation.
Yeah.
So it's no walk in the park.
So what are your top anime shows?
Top anime shows. Okay. My number one has always been Death Note. Death Note has always been top tier to me. I adore everything about it. It's one of those that I tell people, like, it's probably one of the best ones you can start with because it's only like 20, 30 episodes or so, 2 seasons. Very easy to get into. It's almost like a cop drama sort of thing, or like cat and mouse kind of thing.
Death Note?
Yes, Death Note.
So what'd you think of the series on Netflix?
I didn't watch it because I refused to watch it. I didn't want to check it out, but also even if I wanted to, I don't know if I would have had time. Like, I haven't really sat down and watched TV in quite a long time. But yeah. I saw that they were making a series and I was just like, I don't want to go see it. But the anime is always going to be like, that's like my favorite anime, like, for sure. Second anime, probably Elfenlied, or as a lot of people would say, Elfenlied. It's one of my favorite ones as well too, just because the story is very top tier. A lot of people like to watch it because it's very gory, and like very brash, but in ways, I love it because the story is very captivating and the characters feel very like you feel for them a lot. And I don't want to give away too much, but like there's sometimes even moments in there where like there can literally be like so much gore that like some people will not even be complete bodies and you feel heartbroken for them, and the way that people react around them. It's one of those that I wouldn't say is for everybody, but it was one of those that despite it being very gory, very graphic, I still was in it really, really for the plot. It was very, very deep, and I loved it for that
I need to
reason.
check that one out. I haven't checked it out.
It's out. It's I want to say it's not even more than a season, so like you'll finish it up really quick.
What about your favorite anime scene?
My favorite anime scene. So I feel like we should put like a spoiler warning here.
Spoiler warning, guys.
There's that one moment in Death Note that happens where like, okay, like our main protagonist, Light, he had basically revealed like that his plan was to give up power of the Death Note. He had given up power of it so that way he could forget all about having the Death Note and forget about the Death Gods and get out of jail doing that. And by doing so, he was also going to like he was thinking like, well, okay, like, because like he's like the smart kid. He's like, if I forget about all of this, I'm likely gonna go back to that good guy mentality and think that, oh, I'm gonna help the police find the killer that they're looking for, which actually is him. And he's like, I'm gonna not remember doing any of that stuff, so I'm gonna actually legit want to help me. They're gonna let me in on the investigation, and then I'm gonna find the Death Note again and get all my memory back. And like when he gets it all back and he's just in the helicopter, like getting everything back into place, like it's just like this one big like what the fuck moment. Like how do you plan all that? Like how do you plan that you're gonna act exactly this way once you lose all your memories? Like it's evilishly brilliant, and just like I love that show. Love it.
Nice.
Awesome, man.
Any cosplay costumes you've been wanting to dress up as?
Probably the most feasible one I'd want to do is L from Death Note, because he's just this kind of like unkempt looking dude, skinny, and just kind of sits in weird angles, and I'm like, I relate to that. But probably one of my goal cosplays, I would love to do Pyramid Head from Silent Hill. I would love to do that one. I'd probably have to get a little bit more ripped and jacked first, but that would be like one of my top ones I'd love to do. Same thing with the Doom guy from Doom as well. I would love to do those as like cosplays.
It's pretty cool.
So you say you love playing video games. So what are your top 3 video games that you play?
Top 3 video games. Number 1, Fallout 3. Okay, I don't even gotta I don't even gotta think about that.
Bro,
one.
Hey, you're in the right crew right now, because
Okay.
me and
I like
Quez.
4.
I was like, Fallout 3, when I first played it, that was one that like, man, I remember my first save file, and this was when I was just like casually into it. This was before I was like, this is like my favorite game ever. I had logged like 200 some hours into like my first playthrough just to try and get every damn side quest I could, find everything. I got super into the story, and it was one of those like, as soon as I finished it, restarted one. And like it was one of those things like I woke up, played Fallout before school, went to school, came back home, literally sped through all my homework and eating just to play more Fallout before bed. I
remember Quez last year, bro, like when I had COVID, he got me the Xbox Live card, and we have been talking about Fallout. He's huge on Fallout. So the goal was for him. He got me the Xbox Live card, and he would always see me online. He's like, "Are we gonna play online?" And I was always just on fucking Fallout.
Yeah.
But like, I liked how Fallout 4, it gave me everything that I wanted in Fallout 3. But Fallout 3 was the one that like fucking the storyline. Mm-hmm. I love the expansions. I don't know if both of you got to actually play all the expansions, because I know they didn't have them on the PlayStation for a while. I don't know if they ended up getting them all.
Well, like, I eventually ended up buying it on Steam. So like when I got it on Steam, they had like the like DLC, like the Game of the Year edition. They had it for like $5, so of course I bought it.
Nice.
Same thing with Fallout New Vegas. Like, so yeah, like I played through all of it again with the DLC, and like it's one of those I pick up, I'm happy. Like I adore playing it from like beginning to end. it's the reason why I can't really play video games as a teacher, because then I would be just like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, screw these kids, like I gotta go explore the Mojave really quick, okay? So like, yeah.
So I know like once in a while, like I'll be, like watching your social media, and you'll be sampling different projects, like random stuff. Like I'll see you like get a clip from a movie or like a classic song, and you sample it. What can you say are your top 3 favorite projects that you've played with samples on?
So if you go onto my SoundCloud, there's the second one on there is Somebody Kill Me Please. And that one, my girlfriend Crystal had asked me if I had ever seen The Wedding Singer, and the short answer, no, I have not seen it. I want to watch it, just need to find the time. But she had shown me this clip where Adam Sandler's like playing this song that he wrote, but like he wrote like the other half of it like while he was like after he had gotten like dumped or whatever, but he's just like screaming out in it. And I heard it and it made me laugh, but I just had this idea in my head that I was like, oh man, you know what? This should be turned into like an emo track. Like legit should be turned into like a 2000s emo track. So I immediately pulled the clip from YouTube, ran it through a website that separates like voice from instruments.
Yeah.
And I took the Adam Sandler like voice from that song. I added guitar, I added drums, I added a solo into it, I added screams into it. I just got really stupid with it, and I literally did it in like an hour in front of my girlfriend, and she was just like, you got all of that from me showing you a YouTube video? I was like, yeah. It was like, that's like, it was just so funny to me, but I was just like, I need to make this happen. Like, and
That's very creative, bro, because like sometimes Quez also like he fucking recently, or I think it was like last year or 2 years that he did the Beavis and Butthead skit with
Oh
Mecca.
yeah.
So I know,
Yeah.
like, if y'all sat down together, bro, y'all could do some fucking funny ass shit
very,
together.
very likely.
Yeah, more likely. It'll happen.
Favorite, what's your favorite on your cheat days? What is your favorite thing to eat?
Okay, this is a big one right here. So I don't want to talk about these just because like I'm kind of like knee deep in like a cutting phase right now, like trying to lose a little weight. So like I've gotten like really strict on my diet. Like I'll tell you, like before I came here, I literally ate like 5 servings of unsalted rice and chicken, and it was like not bad, but just, you know, it's definitely not good. So it's pretty bad in comparison.
Yeah.
My biggest cravings, like I am a big pizza fan. Like, you know, that's like one of the foods that like no matter like how deep when I'm dieting, like it's always like a trigger food for me. And it's like probably my favorite pizza places like are like I like Domino's and like Little Caesars, obviously, because like it's quick, it's right there, you know. But like
Yeah.
pizzeria here in the valley as well, super good. I love Stefano's as well. I don't know if they opened back up after their fire incident or whatnot, but Stefano's, I love them as well. But pizza is like a big one. Like if I have a cheat day and whatnot, like sometimes like that's like the first thing I go to. That being said, I also like burgers. Whataburger is like my number one as far as those go.
What has favorite local restaurants?
Favorite local restaurants? Favorite local restaurants? Probably for pizza, there's Mama's Pizzeria in McAllen. I like that place. That place is pretty dope. Starlight Burger as well too.
Yeah, that was good.
That one's like a really good like.
Is that the one with the
local
small burgers?
The small
The
ones?
little mini burgers?
That's White Castle.
No, that's White Castle.
No, but I know they had one in McAllen. It was like everybody's childhood burger place that they would go to. I don't know if it's Starlight or
I don't know, but like Starlight Burger is like one of them. Like for like local chain for burgers, I like that one. I can't really think of another one, but like Dragon Warrior is also really good too. I like Dragon Warrior noodle for like ramen. Not the best ramen I've had, but probably the best ramen I can get like in the valley.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Like, since it's coincidence or not, I'm gonna ask this question because both of you guys are teachers, and I kind of want an answer from both of you guys. Start with you, Eric. What has been your favorite accomplishment as a music teacher?
I have a lot of kids that come in from different walks of life. You know, some of them, you know, they just do it because they need something to do after school, you know. But I have some kids that are really, really devoted to music, and like they're very passionate. And you know, I can tell that this is what they want to do with their lives, and they're just not sure how. And I have a student, his name's AJ. He just graduated from high school this year, and in this last year he was applying to colleges, and he already told me like well ahead of time, he's like, I want to go to music school, like I want to apply for music school. I was like, all right, cool. And you know, I helped him out with his applications, I helped him with his auditions, because this was around the time like, you know, COVID restrictions were still kind of uncertain, so we had to do filming for everything. And so we auditioned to a couple of different places, like local colleges, and also like the school he wanted to go to, which was in like Chicago, I think. I don't remember the name of it, but he ended up asking me, he was like, do you think I could make it into Berkeley? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I told him, like, to be honest, I was too scared to try to go to Berkeley, so I didn't bother auditioning or sending in an application. He's like, do you think we can try it? I was like, well, when's their deadline, you know, for auditioning? And he was like, we got 2 weeks. And I was like, what do we got to do? So we had to record him playing 2 pieces, and then he had to send in an original piece that he had written in sheet music. He then would also have to do an interview with people from there and improvise on an instrument, like on that interview as well too. And like we had 2 weeks to get it done. We were like, all right, why not? Let's just see what happens. Needless to say, my boy's going to Berkeley. He's actually gonna be heading out there like after this summer, so like
Damn, bro, that's awesome.
I'm proud of him for getting in, like, because I was like, you know, it's one of those things that as like a teacher you want your kids to do better than you could have. And I told him like, you know, I'm proud of you for taking a step that I was too scared to doing, and not just doing that, but like nailing it, you know.
What about you, Quez? What has been your favorite accomplishment as a teacher?
I would have to say, I mean, our worlds are very different, because he works with kids with music, and I work with kids with special needs, so it's 2 different fields, you know. I also work with regular ed as well, and with regular ed, I'm just glad that I could help some kids, because nowadays, man, like, and I'm just being real, like sometimes the households ain't the way it used to be. You know what I mean? And the safest place some of these kids would rather be at is at school. You know, even a decent meal too, man. So even that love and that care that they need, bro, when they don't get it at home, you know what I mean? I'm just glad that I could be there, you know, and teach them things that they're not taught at home, and just see them grow, man. You know what I mean? Grow from that.
Yeah.
And as far as, I mean, I developed a lot of patience with working with kids with special needs as well. I mean, you develop so much stuff with working with kids with special needs. But I mean, I love my job, man. I love my job.
I do want to point it out, and if not, I can cut it from here from the editing. But you were able to put one of your students, right, in a magazine.
Oh yeah.
In LA, right?
Oh no. Oh, what are you talking about?
You.
Me. Yeah. Oh, the Chicano Life.
Yeah, the Chicano Life. Yeah. That was for awareness, right?
Yeah, it was for autism awareness
Yeah.
in April.
I thought that was awesome, bro.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, with me when it comes to doors opening, I mean, I'm not greedy. You know what I mean? And if I could get my students out there, I'll get them out there, man. You know what I mean? Just smile on their face too, man. So
That's awesome, bro. Eric, so any advice to anyone that's starting in the music?
I think something that stops a lot of people from doing anything in general, I see it with all the parents that come in to like bring their kids for music lessons. So many kids I have come through the door, 4-year-olds at the youngest, like 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, little kids, single digit ages. They come in open-minded, not sure of what they're capable of doing, but like they'll just give it a shot,
yeah.
And their same parents will come in and just, like sometimes they'll be like, oh, I've always wanted to learn piano, I've always wanted to learn guitar, I've always wanted to take singing lessons. And I always tell them, like, it's never too late to start. And they're always like, no, I don't have the ear for that, or I don't have the time, or I'm too old for that. I'm too this. And I think what makes me really sad about some reasons why people don't pick things up is that people confuse doing things with being good at it. And some people, they'll pick up a guitar and they'll be upset that it'll literally be months and they still don't sound like great, Or people will be upset trying to learn to draw and they still feel like they can't make faces right. People will go to the gym, lose tons of weight, but their bodies still don't look aesthetic.
Yeah.
People oftentimes will be so afraid to not do something just because they think like, oh, well, I'm not gonna hit this idea in my head of what I want to be. And the biggest thing that you can do to start anything at all in life is just start. Like, just start. I don't care if you got a plan. I don't care if you got a goal. I don't care if you're wondering where the heck you're gonna end up. You're gonna get nowhere by not doing anything. And it doesn't matter what the skill is, and it doesn't matter how far you go, because by telling yourself you're too old, or telling yourself you're too dumb, telling yourself you're not capable for any reason, already sets your expectations low for what you can do. Because you never know, you might surprise yourself. So here's some advice. If you think you can't do something, if you think you can't do something because you're too old, go tell that to an old person. Find someone older than you, see them trying to do something, tell them like, hey, you're too old to do that. And if you can't do that, then it's an excuse. If you think you're too stupid, walk into a room full of kids trying to learn something, tell them like, y'all are too dumb to learn this. You can't do it. No one's too stupid, no one's too old. It's just a matter of if we want to do it or not. We would never tell people of if we were other people, if we could talk to ourselves as a third person and we were like friends with ourselves, we would never tell that person that. You would never tell your best friend they're too dumb, that they're too old, that it's too late. You would never tell them that. You'd hype them up. You'd be like, go for it, man. Go for it. Take that cooking class. Sign up for that gym. Go take that trip, whatever it is. Because we would want the best for everybody. But we hold ourselves to such high standards. Just start. Like, just go. Just do it. Who cares if you get great? Who cares if it doesn't really go well? At least you tried.
Yes.
And that's really the biggest thing I can tell anybody about anything. I don't care if it's this. I don't care if it's running, lifting. I don't care if it's doing like a stripper class. Just go. Do it. This is your time. Life is too short time is too short, and we take tomorrow for granted when we don't even know if it's gonna come. You know, so just go, do it now. You know, maybe not right now because it's like what? It's almost 1 a.m. But yeah, you know, start as soon as you can.
So, great advice, bro. Any shout outs?
Shout outs to a couple of people actually. So like one, Gentry Gym, my home, away from like all the other homes I have. Some of the best people I've worked out with, some of the best people I get to work out alongside, extremely knowledgeable people there, and an extremely welcoming community. Gentry Gym in Harlingen, one of my favorites. Crescendo Music Institute, obviously. Shout outs to my buddies Renee, Ellie, my boss Eloy. And if on the off chance any of my kiddos see this, I know a couple of them follow me on Instagrams. Hey guys, how's it going? Shout out to Frank, Eileen, AJ. AJ is my student going to Berkeley. Can't think of any other ones that might see this. But yeah, shout out to Crescendo. I also, as well too, Amari for being one of the wonderful people I've worked with as well too. Oh, if you all can, Simon Macias II. He is one of my best buddies from like high school. He's also the boyfriend of my sister. He is a local guitarist. He plays cafes. He plays anywhere from like the island all the way to like Harlingen area. You can catch him sometimes at Studio One. He plays like solo guitar gigs and stuff. Absolutely gifted guitar player. If you can, go catch him at a show. His name's Simon Macias. I've shared a couple of clips of him playing on like my Facebook and Instagram. Awesome dude. Awesome dude. Go check him out sometime if you can. Trying to think. Shout out to the Jukebox Bar in Brownsville as well too. Chris is their owner. They were some of the loveliest people to let me get back into live gigging again and get me started on this journey that got me meeting Danny. And of course, you know, Tiny Music as well too. Yeah, I think that's... Oh, OK Robot as well too. Local punk band as well too here in the Valley. Go check them out. My brother plays guitar for them.
Nice, bro. So final question, brother. Where can people get a hold of you if they want to get some music lessons, follow your movement?
So I cannot give lessons privately. You would have to come to Crescendo Music Institute in Mission to do that. We teach both in person on the site there, and we also teach online. We do teach all ages. We'll teach as young as 4 years old all the way to as old as you can be. We teach piano, we teach guitar, we teach all these different instruments. Shoot, if you got a bajo sexto you want to learn to play or an accordion, bring it in. My boss teaches those pretty darn good as well. We offer some group classes. We actually have a summer camp starting up next week, so if any of y'all got some kiddos that want to learn some piano or guitar, sign them up. We've got those going on there. Like, so that's how you can get a hold for me for teaching, really. And unfortunately, I am really booked. So if you really wanted to work with me, I'm sorry. I've got a bit of a wait list. However, as far as like where can you follow me musically, I am currently working on some songs. I am working on an EP, and those will be coming out when they're ready to. My SoundCloud is there, Eric Vincent Ramirez. It's also linked to like my business Facebook page too, so like it's the same thing, Eric Vincent Ramirez. If you type it all in, like no space, like you'll find it on Facebook as well. I have not been very active in the music community, unfortunately, because I've been very busy with like my training and stuff to gig, but I'm working on it, and there is music in the background. As far as like my fitness and everything though, I have a TikTok and an Instagram where occasionally I'll post pictures, but on TikTok I am actually vlogging every single day that I train for my marathon. So whether it's lifting in the gym whether it's going on runs. I am vlogging the whole journey. So if you're looking for a little motivation, inspiration, or maybe you want to motivate me, inspire me, give me some tips, if you all can find me on there, that would be greatly appreciated.
Awesome, brother. Well, it was a very informative podcast, bro. I really enjoyed it. You're a jack of all trades, man, and I'm glad I got to meet you, bro, and have you in my life because you're amazing, bro. Not just as a musician, but as a person. You're very humble. Usually, somebody in your skills, they'd be cocky, but you're a very humble person, and I just love how we've been working. I know you've been busy. I know eventually we'll get on some projects, but keep at it, bro. Keep at it with the fitness, with the music. You're doing amazing, and I appreciate you coming today.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any final thoughts, Chris?
Oh man, you're amazing, bro. You are multi-talented, and I really hope to work with you in the near future, bro.
Absolutely, and I guess I will plug that in as well too. I am quite a busy person, but that being said, I try to make myself very approachable. I am very, very busy, but I'm never too busy for a message. I don't mind working with anybody of all kinds, obviously, as long as you're respectable to me. I show the same respect. I'll never act like my music skills are too much for any genre. If I vibe with you, I vibe with you, you know? And I always love to hear what's going on in the local scene, you know? If y'all are interested in working with someone like me or just getting input on someone like me, I'd love to see what everybody's got. And if y'all want to check out some stuff I've done as well too, my SoundCloud's got some clips of my playing and singing. I've got a couple of clips of me playing and singing on Facebook, Instagram, and a couple on my TikTok as well. So I mean, I like working with everybody. Clearly, for me to be in a place like this as well too, so if any of y'all are wanting to work with me, I got my ears open.
Awesome. Well, there you guys have it. Thank you both of you gentlemen for doing this podcast, and I'll be releasing it soon. And much love to everybody.
Much love.
Peace out.
Easy.
Laters.